Take two. Are you more ready than before?
Yes, much more ready.
Oh, thank God. Hey, John Peckman Podcast. This is take two. I pressed the wrong button and the earth exploded. Did you notice? Would we notice? John Peckman Podcast. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go one through set of lights and through and around and make a U-turn. And park in front of the music store that has the red neon sign. You can have your own podcast. Anybody can do it, even a moron like me. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Come on the show with me. We are here today with Mr. Atticus Kelly, live and in person.
Live and in person.
There he is.
Here I am.
You are here for a limited time.
That's true.
That is true.
Yeah, for the week. Yeah, for the week.
Yeah, the week.
Yes.
I know you as a keyboard player, but I think that you're probably more than that.
Oh, geez.
But that's how our thing kind of started.
I see.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were there. You remember.
I do remember.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us where you grew up. Did you grow up?
I've never grown up.
Where did you grow older than you were?
Good question. New Britain, just down 9.
Hey.
Yeah, hard hit New Britain.
Berlin.
Terrible.
For now, yeah. Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, I agree.
How did it all begin?
How did it all begin?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a big question. In what sense?
Well, you, as a life form in New Britain, interest in music started when and why and
Sure. My folks are both musicians. My father plays the bass, played in various bands, always played guitar. My mom's a professional singer and has been for, I don't know how long ago the 80s was at this point, like 50 years. Is that 50 years?
Yeah, that's when I graduated high school. It was 50 years ago.
That feels like it could be, I don't know. It changes every year, you know?
It changes by the year.
That's right. Yeah, that was.
Do I know your mom?
Yeah, me.
Oh, I graduated in 1985.
She graduated in like 72.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, different whole cohort.
Yeah. Okay, never mind.
I remember.
I got nervous for a second.
Oh no, you're not nearly as old as she is.
Oh, okay, good. That's good. That's good.
They're both musicians. We all took piano lessons as kids.
And other siblings.
I do. Yeah,
musical.
I do. It's funny. There's like a sort of a scale of musical skill in my family. I'm not going to describe the scale, but we all play like a little bit. So I play somewhat professionally.
Sure.
My older brother is a drummer.
Oh.
Excellent. Like.
Do I know him?
Doubtful.
Okay.
Unless you were like in the Connecticut metal scene in the early aughts or mid aughts. Then no.
Okay.
But no, he's like a very good organic kind of musician. And he could play like very technical kind of stuff without a lot of training, like death metal kind of stuff. Like it really takes like a good, but he doesn't know a lick of anything. He's self-taught on the drums. Yeah. And he could play a little guitar too. I remember he taught himself how to play guitar pretty fast, faster than me, but he didn't stick with it. My twin brother.
Does he still play drums?
No, not at all. He works for like a bank. Oh, is that right? I hope that's right, Coleman.
That's what happens to metal people. Eventually, they become money counters.
I know. He has a drum kit, I think. It's been a long time.
Well,
I just think like if you really like being comfortable, then being a musician is not for you. Maybe.
Right. Yeah. There's no comfort here.
There's no comfort. It's all the cold embrace of, the road.
Yeah.
But my twin brother plays trumpet. He's got a good ear and stuff.
Oh, cool.
He surprises me. Sometimes he'll say something like, he'll have some observation about what he's listening to. I'll be like, I'm surprised to hear you say that.
Wow.
And I have a younger brother who does not play a lick.
Huh.
Does not play a lick.
Does he work in a bank or no?
No, he works for a university, and he also, I think he works for like a humane society. He lives in Rochester. I started, my twin brother was learning how to play guitar. But I took his guitar and I learned how to play it.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
So you did that first?
I did.
So I didn't even know you played guitar.
I've been playing guitar since 2005.
Longer than keys?
I've been good at guitar for much longer than I've been good at keys.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. I didn't even know that.
I mean, I only play keys. No one ever calls me on guitar anymore.
Wow.
Ever.
Call him.
Call me, please.
Yeah,
I've been playing for however long ago 2005 was. What is that now?
18 years.
18 years. That's incredible. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Would you rather play guitar?
They're both so nice.
Yeah.
Both so nice. I've had such a journey with both of them that it would be hard for me to say one or the other.
But you wouldn't mind having more guitar gigs at this time.
Exactly. Thank you, John.
Well.
Exactly.
Hey.
You know, I've been playing a long time.
So when did keys come into it?
When I was in high school. There's a guy there. He's actually still there. I think he teaches there now, but his name is Terrence.
In New Britain.
This was in Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm sure you've crossed paths with dudes from there.
Yep.
And there's this guy Terrence. He like had like really limited vision and stuff. Couldn't see too well, kind of thing. But he could like hear anything once and play it.
Hey.
One of those kind of players.
Sure.
Really like probably like the finest ear of anyone that I've ever met. You know.
I wonder if he's still around.
Oh yeah. He's still there.
That's awesome.
I saw him there a few years ago. Great player.
Cool.
But I was like, dang, I want to play like Terrence. Everyone called him T.
And he played keys?
He played keys.
Wow.
Real funky, you know.
Yeah.
And you could play a little bit of everything. You could sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, T.
Yeah.
You know. And plus he would start playing. People would gather around him. And, you know, he'd be like, play this. And he'd play them all. Everyone would be. And, of course, you know, as musicians, I don't know if you're like this, but I was like, I want that.
You want what?
I want that. Like, I mean, it'd be cool if, like, I could be the guy that just plays a million tunes.
Sure. Yeah,
you know?
And everybody's standing around with their mouths open. They just can't believe it.
Or they don't care after 5 seconds, which is also an equally common reaction. They'll be like, can you play me so-and-so? And you play it, and they'll be like, oh, it doesn't sound like it. Because it doesn't have the drums and the bass and everything they're expecting, and the conceptual
So
leap.
they think that you just, with your two hands, you're going to make the recording happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If I started playing keys, I was
You don't need
self-taught
those
for a while.
people in your life.
You might know, do you know, like, you probably know Brad Meldow, like, as a person.
No. I don't, but close.
Very near the Ships in the Night.
Sure.
You guys are probably the same age, I would imagine.
Sure.
And I studied with his teacher.
Oh, wow.
Lee Callahan, for a while in high school.
Hey, that's cool.
It was really cool. And his daughter, Kate Callahan, you probably know her maybe.
Yeah, I do. She just made the list.
Ooh,
just like
that. She would be great on this podcast.
Yeah, she would. All right, that's gonna happen.
All right. Okay. Well, you know what? I can call her right now.
Well, go ahead.
We can just do a quick swap out.
Right. No, these things happen. No, this is how it happens. That's good. I forgot. Yeah, that's good. Okay, good.
Very nice.
All right, you just made the list, Kate. All right.
Thank you for talking over my.
That's fine.
Mouth noises there.
Yeah.
That's good. That's kind of like how I came to be music. I played a lot of metal. A lot of metal.
Guitar.
Metal guitar. I had like the dime bag guitar. It was like kind of like lightning shaped.
Yeah.
Got it from. No, I didn't. I sold it to Daddy's Junkie Music. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I used to love that place.
That was a nice. I don't know if there's one around here, but there's one on Hartford Road in New Britain or in that little area.
I used to hit the one at Corbin's Corner.
Ooh, that was the one.
That was the one
for
me.
It's creepy stuff going on over there.
Yeah. Well, the word junkie is in the name of the store.
That's true.
Daddy's Junkie Music.
It was cool. I could ride my bike there and stuff.
Oh hell yeah! I used to love that place.
They had some good stuff, and then they kind of stopped having good stuff, and then one day you just went over there and they were just done. Yeah. And they all had closed.
Yeah, it was sad.
It was a sad day.
It was a thing for a while.
I still have something. You'll see like a cable or like a stand that has Daddy's Junkie Music on it, and it's like,
yeah.
It didn't not happen.
Yeah,
it was there.
I used to cruise the cymbals. That was my thing. I would always just like drop in and see what used cymbals showed up, and I scored some stuff.
Sure.
I remember one time I was on the road somewhere, and it was Daddy's Junkie were all over New England, right? Kinda, I think. New Hampshire.
You know more than I would.
Okay. I was on the road, and I was like, I should have a spare snare drum. Because I just started to get nervous, like if I break a head or whatever.
Sure.
And I was at Daddy's Junkie, and there was a Slingerland student model snare drum I bought for $50.
Nice.
And I'm like, I'll play this. And it was a student model. It was not a piece of junk, but it was, 6 lugs. It was not a good drum. And I played it for like the first set, just to like, let me break this thing in. And I was like, I kind of like this drum. And I played it for a year. It was blue sparkle. It didn't match anything. I played it for years. And drummers would come up to me and go, man, what is that? And I'm like, it's nothing. Sometimes you just never know. I just lucked out. It was a killer. I played that thing for years.
Till it fell apart.
No, I still have it. But I played it on a lot of records. It was just funny because sometimes you pick up what's supposed to be a piece of garbage gear and just it works.
Yeah, it's nice when that happens. People put a lot of stock in brand names and cost, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything.
I think so.
I never much of like a expensive gear tone chaser guy because I was always too broke.
Yeah, me too.
But it's also kind of like a little bit of a distraction. Sometimes people like instead of making the guitar sound good in the first place, just like seek many different little toys to make it sound good at the very end of the chain, right?
Sure,
when the single's going out of your guitar, and it's like that's not helping at all.
Right.
It's like Lysol on a dead animal.
Yep. Yeah, it's dead. The animal's dead.
The animal's dead.
Lysol's
not going to do anything.
Well, yeah, but you know.
Not to be judgmental. I'm sorry.
No, I know what you mean, but I do know what you mean. It's, I guess, a good player on better gear is nice.
Sure.
But the gear ain't going to play the gig.
No, of course not. And it's a professional, I'm obviously not telling you anything you don't know, but like a professional can make a crap Greg sound amazing.
Hopefully.
You ever see Zakk Wylde playing the little Hello Kitty guitar?
No.
He rips.
Yeah,
he rips. Yeah, sure. You ever hear a 3-year-old playing a Hello Kitty guitar?
Yeah, right.
Doesn't sound anything like Zakk Wylde.
Yeah. Well, we're not all Zakk Wylde.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah. So who was was that your thing?
Oof, I love Zakk.
So who was it that got you fired up?
Oh, back then I loved like anyone that played with Ozzy.
Yeah.
And there's so many good ones.
So Randy Rhoads, Zakk.
I love Randy. One time I was figuring out a Randy Rhoads solo. I think it was like Crazy Train or something.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, "How's it going?" I was like, "Good. It's just pentatonic scales." And my dad was like, "Yes, and the Iliad is just words." I was like, "Thanks, Dad."
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually true. I was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's pretty heavy.
I didn't get too far with the solo, but that kind of stuck with me. One doesn't hear that kind of wisdom every day, you know.
That's kind of heavy.
Yeah, I know. I loved that. I loved him. I loved if you listen to like there's a recording. I was in a metal band called Antebellum.
Okay.
Wonder if anyone out there is like,
that's kind of an unmetal name.
What, Civil War? Extremely metal.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind. Right.
Very metal war.
Okay.
It was pretty unmetal though.
Wow.
It's like Latin.
Right.
You know, if you listen, I mean, obviously no one's going to find a copy unless you have a copy of Demo 07 with written Sharpie on it. But if you hear what I'm playing, it's like Dime Bag, Zakk Wylde kind of bag.
Sure.
Which is what I really liked.
Why not?
Why not? I don't know.
I mean, that's the best.
Dime is great.
Yeah.
I still like that. I don't like listen to it every day or anything, but like I that stuff is great. I think it certainly stands up. And it's really interesting, fun guitar playing, which is kind of something that characterizes metal to me.
Yeah.
Not that I play it at all anymore.
No?
No, I'd rather play something. They don't care about time at all.
Yeah, right.
Unless it's like the right to the click track,
right.
drum triggers, stuff like that. There's just like no care to the time at all.
It just as many notes or runs as you can.
Sure, and even as like evenly as possible. That's like the aesthetic, and that to me is like listen to like Bill Ward on something.
Yeah,
he's swinging his butt off.
Yeah, oh yeah,
and it's like beautiful, funky playing.
Right,
with like kooky vocals over it.
Well, they're old enough. That my theory that those guys, not jazz players, but maybe learn from. They're old enough that they're still swinging in their head.
If they wanted to work, they kind of had to be able to do that, is my assumption.
Right.
Like if you wanted to do like society gigs in the 60s in Liverpool or wherever they were,
right,
you probably had to do that.
Yeah.
And he plays great. And it's like there's some tracks where it's like, man, they are getting down. Like even War Pigs.
Oh yeah.
War Pigs is
it's
funky
smoking
as heck.
Oh yeah.
What a cool, weird band. Just
like
a bluesy, funky band with singing about Satan and stuff.
Yeah,
I love Sabbath, I would say I learned guitar with some of those songs for sure. Metallica songs, those songs are they're very like nutritious musically. Like if you learn them on the guitar, you're getting chords, you're getting single notes.
That's great.
You're playing fast, you're playing.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, it's like as a drummer, I'm sure you probably could figure this, but That's kind of like if you're old enough, if you go through John Bonham, you're going to learn.
Purdy.
You're going to, yeah, right. Yeah. Well, among other things, but yeah, you're going to learn how to play fast. You're going to learn how to play slow. You're going to learn how to swing. You're going to learn how to be relentless. You're going to learn licks. You're going to learn, So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that.
It's great.
Yeah.
And they're all drawing from that. I feel like, that's something I didn't realize because I was paying attention to Jimmy Page. So like when I'm listening to like da na 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 na, and he's doing a Purdy shuffle, and like I had no idea. I just thought it, and then they kind of blow the groove with that faster section to me. I don't know how you feel about that, but
I mean, I guess they were trying to do something.
I agree. You know what? And there are people, they get a lot of hate. Led Zeppelin, I feel like for stealing stuff.
Yeah,
but it's like I still think they're incredible. And I used to come home and listen to Led Zeppelin 2 on vinyl every day.
Yeah,
I know the first side of that album inside and out.
Sure.
And I played that. We played that with Jeff Pivar. Remember we did that gig together?
Yeah.
The Flying Tiger or whatever.
Yeah.
We played like basically the whole first side of that.
The
record.
Hungry Tiger.
Flying Tiger. That's a real venue.
The Flying Monkey is a place. You're confused. That's fine.
Do tigers fly?
They can. Anything can fly.
That's true.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Yeah, Zeppelin. Yeah, no doubt. Did you ever? There was a thing flying around. I got from somebody the individual tracks of Whole Lotta Love, the multi-tracks, showed up somewhere, and I made my own mix. You can literally just isolate. I got them. Somebody sent them to me on a zip file or something, and I lined them all up in my, rig, and you can play the song and then just like, let's just hear the drum. And I made my own version of
awesome.
It. It's kind of wild.
So we can just pause this right now. You can send that to me.
Yeah, I will.
And then that's incredible.
It's kind of fun. Cool. But when you really hear what's going on, the isolated tracks, you're like, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Bonham is swinging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
John Paul Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Because all those guys, I feel like were coming from like James Jamerson.
Yep.
And doing each one did kind of like their own crack.
Yeah.
They're trying to do his thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I always feel like with drummers, Bonham, I think drummers, they misinterpret the power. They think that's all it is powerful. And they miss the swinginess or the funkiness of it. And then when it becomes metal drumming, I guess, later, they miss that part.
Sure.
Except for the great ones. Didn't miss anything.
Yes.
But to me, Bonham, it's just like,
Bonham and Bill Ward.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bill's less flamboyant.
But I know what you mean, though. He's swinging.
Sure.
He's in that.
They're pros.
Right.
A guy who plays metal right now, he can only play metal probably. Who do you know that does like funk gigs and then moonlights as like
right. Yeah, you can only be
I always I feel like that metal drummers and like gospel drummers could kind of like have some Venn diagram if they could only settle their differences.
Yeah, over the whole
because it's a sort of chopsy. Yeah. One swings though. Both to me, even the swingy gospel stuff, you listen to enough of it and it becomes a little bit clinical. It becomes a little bit like it's not like a very welcoming swing to me.
Right.
It's a little bit like it's too a little bit precise,
Yeah. I haven't checked in a while.
It's probably about the same as you left it.
Yeah.
It's a style that moves pretty slowly, I think.
Really?
Yeah, like sound wise, they're it kind of sounds like R&B from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, right. That's what I think.
Kind of cheesy keyboards.
Yep.
Kind of thing. It's not like it's not greasy at all. Like
is that right?
Like Zigaboo Mondelez or something.
So they don't do that.
No,
it's more of a.
It's bouncy and it's funky, but it feels like kind of quantized.
Yeah.
I was listening to something. We were listening to like Bill. I was with a friend of mine hanging out, and we were listening to Bill Withers. She hit me to this album called Adjustments.
I don't know that
beautiful,
one.
beautiful,
Really?
beautiful, beautiful.
Do you know who the drummer is?
Gadsden.
I was just listening to an interview with him. He was talking about all that stuff.
And it's it's wild. And then we listened to some other like kind of contemporary guy, and it was like still funky, but it wasn't like a warm, welcoming, earthy. It felt kind of like a studio vibe almost.
I kind of know what you mean. I do. I like guys that are rickety.
Right.
That play a little bit rickety.
Because I've played with you. You don't play that style at all.
What?
Not the
straight up and down.
Straight up and down, quantized. You know what I mean?
I can, but I don't like if I can get away with.
little wobble.
Yeah, I like the wobble.
You're just wobbling on it for the folks at home.
Yeah, right. Oh no, this is there's cameras.
There's cameras?
They can see me. Yeah.
Can they see me?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're seeing you right now.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. Sorry.
Does this have a large viewership?
No.
That's good. Oh, good.
Couple
I'm
hundred.
kidding.
Yeah.
A couple hundred is pretty good for like a podcast.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is like, yeah, we got, a couple hundred built in, I think by now, and then when people see that it's your cohort will tune in and check it out, and that'd be nice.
Former McLovins fans.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so, well, let's talk about that. So, your people will be glad to hear you, see you talk about your thing. That's great. So you went from metal, to when did you you met the actual devil, and you're like, well, that's it. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I'm okay, here I am, or whatever.
I smelled the brimstone.
Yeah.
And no, okay, there's a huge gap because I went to the Academy of the Arts, and they kind of like jazzed the metal out of me because you had to choose to do like classical or jazz.
Sure.
For those that don't know how the school functioned at that time, it was half day academic and half day music. So you would spend the first part of the day at your home school or at the academic program at the academy, studying English class, science class, things like that. And then from 1 to 4:15, you would study music, like theory, ensemble classes and stuff like that. That's actually the first time I met the drummer of McLovins.
Oh,
was way back then. We were playing like straight ahead.
Oh wow. And you're playing keys by this time.
I was playing guitar.
I was playing
guitar. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Playing guitar. I auditioned at all these schools on guitar.
Wow.
I was a guitar player. I swear.
No, I believe it. No, I'm glad to know because
these are revelations.
Well, kind of, yeah. That's good.
Can I move this? Is that good about?
Yeah, no,
I'll leave it.
You're all right. No, you're good. Okay. I'm just making sure you're still in the frame.
We're good.
You got to stay in the frame.
I'm in the frame, bruh.
Yeah, you're in the frame.
In the frame, in the pocket.
Yeah, all that.
That was cool. So I mean, look, you get to learn a ton of theory.
Yeah.
You have 4 years in high school to learn all the theory you need to know. Right. You have 4 years of like playing with an ensemble 4 times a week. You really can't beat it for that age group,
Right.
And with great great teachers. So some not so great.
Really.
Mostly very good education. You get to. I went to the Hart School. I didn't finish my degree, but you go there and you're learning in theory class like something you learned in like sophomore year of high school.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Wow.
And it's like chord scales, huh?
You're like, yo, you don't say.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Bummer.
So after that, I ran into two. I was in college and I ran into 2 of the guys from McLovins. Someone had left, and then I joined.
Where did you go?
Went to the Hart School.
Oh, you just said that. Okay.
Try to keep up.
I know. I'm trying. I'm still like, wait, he plays guitar. Like I'm still there.
We're getting there.
Okay, all right. So you meet tell me who the McLovins are.
Were definitely a hard word.
There's
there.
a McLovins poster. Did you see it?
Really?
Here? Yes.
If it doesn't have me in it, I'm not interested.
Well, I don't know what your tenure was, but you'll see I'll show you.
My tenure was 6 years or so.
So you'll tell me when you see the poster on the way out. You could tell me whether you were involved with that.
Fine.
Okay.
Fine.
So who were they?
Jason.
Who?
A guy named Jason.
Okay, cool.
A guy named Justin.
Nice.
A guy named Jake.
Okay.
3 J names.
3 J's.
Yeah. 2 in the band from the very start.
Why didn't you just call the band 3 J's?
It's because that's a terrible band.
3 J's and an A.
3 J's and an A.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually playing guitar, but I was not nearly. I couldn't play with a backbeat at all.
Really?
Because I'd been playing
too much straight ahead.
Too much straight ahead.
Wow.
So I couldn't play like with a good like rock backbeat. I sounded so terrible.
Really?
With that kind of sound, and like
you're too constricted. You want to play free. You're like, I don't want to.
No, I mean now I see the value. I mean, of course I saw the value shortly when I realized I had to learn how to do it, but now I can play with a drummer quite well. After doing it for 6 years on touring, like I can play well with a drummer, like not like do fills and stuff with them, and it like sounds like we're doing the same thing.
Sure.
But in the beginning it was really rough. I took such a. We had there were 2 guitar players that joined. 2 guitar players, Justin and myself.
Wow.
And Justin like went to the town. He like went deep in the shed and like learned every single part note for note. And then I was like, I'll just like learn
what was the
you
repertoire?
Did. It was all McLovin's tunes.
Oh, okay.
And they had a little set list, and I like remember there were some songs on our first.
So they
day
were already a band when you got involved?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They'd already had like their kind of viral moment.
Oh, okay.
They're in Rolling Stone and stuff.
Oh, wow. Far out.
And he learned all the tunes, and I just kind of was.
How'd you get that gig? They just were like.
I got a call, and they were like, "Do you want to join?" Because I'd already played with Jake for 4 years,
wow.
Right? And I used to make fun of the band and everything. I was like, "This is so dumb, dude.
Yeah,
You should listen to some Art Blakey,
right,
or something like that instead of Fish."
Yeah, right.
You're listening to.
So it was like a jam band kind of scenario.
Definitely.
I'm not familiar. Okay.
Definitely, it kind of became more of a commercial rock thing towards the end, and there was a period where it was sort of more earthy, the band, Little Feat, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was really pleased with that. And then once it kind of became the more commercial sound, I kind of wasn't feeling it as much.
Okay.
And things kind of fizzled out.
Oh wow! For the whole band or just you?
For the whole band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
You can only take so much poverty.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. That's what they say.
There's no bread out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you've done this for a long time. You've seen the empty coffers.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
So
I hear you.
You could tour 6 months a year and not make anything.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And it's like you can only do. I can only do so much of that, and then I decided I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, that was your time, I guess, right? I mean,
it was 2018.
Yeah.
Lifetime ago.
Can't say you didn't do it.
That's right.
Now, I know that I'm not keeping up, but you weren't the guitar player in McLovin, were you?
No, there was another guy.
When
Jeff.
do you play keys? I'm still waiting.
Well,
because now I'm thinking maybe you're not who I think you are.
I could be someone
completely
different.
Yeah, you're not that guy. I'm like, damn.
Okay, well, I was playing guitar, and I don't know that I was contributing much. Because the other guy was just like so much more prepared and such like a better rock guy than me.
Yeah.
Because I just had put rock away for years while I was studying, jazz music. And he just had just all of that better, had the tone dialed in. I didn't have any pedals or anything, and not that you need pedals to have a good tone or anything, but he just was so much more prepared than I was.
Sure.
And I remember we opened for Max Creek. It was like maybe our 6th show. It was at Toad's Place.
Sure.
Cool gig.
Yeah.
I love Max Creek.
Yeah.
And I remember just hearing Mercier, just like the texture that brought to the band, and I was like, this is what's missing.
Hey.
This is what's missing. And I told them all that, and they're like, you're just like excited about it. And I was like, no. And I literally switched instruments in the band. For a while, it was a little crossover, so I had like keys and guitar in front of me.
That's
and
funny.
then it just became just keys. And I eventually started touring with like a full Hammond organ and Leslie.
Whoa.
What was it, Chop?
Did you play keys ever before?
Yeah. I
or
played.
You're just like, I think I'm gonna just do this.
I was like a good self-taught keyboardist.
Okay.
Before then.
All the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of like focus.
It's a matter of like just like getting more stuff together on the keys, and just seeing where it fits in the band.
And what did they say? They were just like, you're gonna just switch instruments?
I mean, I think they're all just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, it definitely like fills out a band to have like a keyboard, a guitar, a vocalist, and a drummer, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I think so.
We went the whole way. Like I said, I had a Joe Durso. You know Joe Durso?
Yeah.
He built me a Hammond organ. And I toured with a Hammond organ. Can you believe that? I can't believe that.
No.
I used to carry that up 4 flights of stairs sometimes, with the band.
Yeah. Like you say, it was a chop, but still.
Chop.
But it ain't feather light, even if it is a chop.
No. And it comes with all the problems of a piece of equipment from 1968, Right. And it really needs work. It's that's in Hartford right now.
Wow.
I live in New York now, but
okay.
I left that in Hartford with the Leslie. The Leslie's all jacked up too.
Yeah.
It really needed work. But of course, if you're in a touring band, you can't afford to fix your Hammond organ.
Right. Unless you're Matt Ziner.
Well,
and you know
himself.
how I've seen him fix his organs on the gig.
I bet.
You know, but he's
first time I took the Leslie out. We didn't bring in we did bring in the road case, but like the speaker fell in And there was this old toothless roadie.
Yeah.
Who was there? He used to tour with Uriah Heep.
Oh wow!
You know, he was talking about how they used to.
Hey.
The Leslies were sold out. They didn't even mic them. But he just like he was just like, I used to tech for Uriah Heep.
Yeah.
And
here's what you do.
And he just like flipped it over and fixed it for me right there.
Hey man,
LZ 145.
that's cool.
No teeth, not one tooth.
Oh, Uriah Heep punched them out. The first 4 times he couldn't fix the Leslie.
That's
and then
right.
he finally learned the hard way. That's funny. Yeah, the old Uriah Heep flip it upside down toothless move.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's in the playbook.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so you fit in. You figured out how to approach keyboards in that band. You just figured it out on the fly.
Had to.
Wow. Were they happy? Was it cool? Were they like, oh yeah?
Oh sure.
All right.
Sure. I mean, I don't always know if, you know, I'm not always happy with how the playing was.
Yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just like had some stuff I hadn't figured out yet at the keyboard that I was kind of missing. I don't think I really had a great idea of how to play like dynamically with a band.
Okay.
Like in terms of like staying in a register so you're not trampling on anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, but I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot. I ended up getting pretty injured from playing.
Really?
But I'm out of injury now, luckily. You know, you just you
Injured.
Injured.
Like your feelings or your physical?
My physical form.
Wow.
My physical form,
my
not my
physical-
astral form.
Right. Yeah, that's a whole. Yeah, those injuries they go right into the Akashic record for lifetimes.
Great.
Yeah. Do you want to tell me about some of the injuries or?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to because I'm out of injury now.
Oh,
and
good.
I have no issues whatsoever.
Oh, good. I should. Are these bad? I shouldn't joke. I don't want to joke about. Are you going to tell me a bad injury and I'm like being funny?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, okay.
We'll talk after.
Because I don't know your story. Maybe you're like, you didn't hear, that
No,
I broke my neck on that gig, and you're like thinking it's, I didn't know.
Oh my
I'm sorry, I
gosh.
didn't
No
know.
broken necks for me.
Okay. All right.
No, I got pretty injured from playing just over the years, and and basically starting last September 2020, or in 2023.
Yeah.
September 2022, I kind of like finally found something that helped. After years, I thought I was like done playing.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I
Did
learned
not know that.
and I did all kinds of stuff in the meantime. I learned how to speak Spanish.
Oh.
I speak Spanish fluently.
Really?
And I did it because I couldn't play. I would study Spanish like 13 hours a day.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's
And-
kind of cool.
I know. And it's like, I needed that outlet. I would have gone crazy.
Yeah.
So I learned how to speak Spanish. I did the exact, you know what I mean? Which I am super glad I did, of course.
Yeah, that's great.
That's one of the skills.
No.
It's a great skill. It's hard to, it's tough to do. And I did it. I learned a lot
That's great.
about, and it definitely affected how I practice music for sure.
Really?
But definitely.
To just break it down, to start over and study and learn
Sure.
how to go at something.
Just like how I learned a lot about like how I actually learn, yeah. And it's that's been a very deep thing. Also, learning a language is really deep ear training. It's like extremely deep ear training.
Really?
Sure.
How so?
Well, just like in order to understand what somebody's saying to you, you have to have understood like thousands of things. Thousands and thousands.
Yeah,
of
that we
things.
take for granted.
Sure.
In our native language.
Exactly.
That might be.
Yeah, I mean, there's things 1,000 times a day I say something that would be utter gibberish to someone learning English, that my mom or my wife or whatever is. Sure. It just goes, yep, right.
Right.
And to
you
anyone else,
learn
it sounds
that
like
for a different language.
And it just sounded like that.
Yeah.
You know, and yes, you do have to learn that for their language, and it's very deep. It's very deep ear training. I discovered a lot of also really wonderful music that you have to sort of, in order to have access to, you have to sort of understand the language.
Wow.
Because it's like, things that aren't in English don't reach very very far. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of times, people who are someone who's a legend in Bolivia, you're never going to know where they are.
Right. Right.
You know.
Hey, that's cool.
I agree.
So you discovered music. Other music too.
Absolutely.
The whole journey.
Absolutely. There's these guys that are like iconic in Argentina, and the music is beautiful, and it's like sophisticated. The lyrics are good.
Yeah.
And you know, it's fascinating stuff, and no one knows who they are.
I bet.
No one knows who they are. It's super.
Well, turn me on.
I will right now.
I'm into it.
The work of Louis Spinetta.
Okay.
They say Spinetta.
I'll get into it.
Right?
What's it like?
So I'm not going to play anything, but I'm going to just look at something he's done. He's like,
what do you call this style?
Some of it is definitely like really eclectic rock. These guys loved the Beatles.
Okay.
You know,
that's cool.
He's a guy, and the songs are always really interesting harmonically, even if it's like a pop song of his. He has an album called Artaud.
Okay.
It's a French poet, Artaud, and that's like by a band called Pescado Rabioso, which is rabid fish.
Oh wow!
But it's like a very eclectic kind of blues folk kind of thing.
Oh wow!
Super super deep. And then he also has some stuff that's really like fusion.
Yeah.
That I really enjoy.
What does he play?
He plays guitar, and he's a songwriter. He's a really neat voice.
I'll check that out.
There's another guy named Charlie Garcia. It's a little more dad rock of that part of the world, but his deeper catalog has like what I would say prog fusion, things of that sort. And he's like he's a funny guy. He's got like a bicolor mustache, so it's half of it's white. He's like extremely, extremely famous there.
And we've never
heard of him.
You could just be making this all up.
I could be making all this up.
Yeah.
There's a video. He went viral in a video because there was a clip of him from the 80s playing what sounded kind of a Wolfpack-y thing.
Yeah.
And that's actually the first way I heard of him. I saw that and looked in the comments, and people were like, this is Charlie Garcia. And what I also didn't realize is there were these gibberish comments, and it was people from Argentina translating Charlie Garcia lyrics into English.
Right.
Just to be kind of cryptic. You know?
Right. Yeah.
This has nothing to do with being injured at all, but I did discover this in the space of, you know, trying to not be miserable all the time. You know?
Right. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Well, what's the secret?
Stay busy.
Yeah.
And does that always help? No.
Yeah.
Definitely, I discovered that language learning is something that I have a talent for.
Hey.
And that I'm definitely going to continue doing.
Hey, that's cool.
I agree. I never would have known that.
What language is next? Or just?
I mean, I've been checking out Latin pretty heavily since like November.
Wow.
To what end? Don't know.
Right.
No, I mean it's like sort of like you know, as a musician, you know what it's like to go back and listen to something and be like, oh, this is where all that came from.
Yeah, sure.
Latin, bro.
Yeah, I can dig that. I can imagine.
And I'm trying to check out some French because you can get good materials for languages like that in French. Like the stuff that's in English isn't that great. But the majority, I'm not going to talk too much about this because it's very
sure.
But it's like it's just kind of boring. But it's like there's a lot of materials in Latin that are monolingual, so you learn the Latin in Latin.
Okay.
Something that I find fascinating.
Say that again.
Well, a lot of these materials for learning Latin are in Latin.
Okay.
So it starts in a very, very simple way and builds and builds and builds in complexity, basically remaining comprehensible the entire time.
So in other words, no translation.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Wow.
And that's, you know, it's interesting. That's you know, to me, that way of learning is you're right in it, right? There's so much learning that we see as teachers, you and I, where it kind of keeps the student actually away from the thing, in my opinion. Like maybe like a book, like a textbook that you might learn in Spanish class that you might have, right? That's going to keep you pretty separated from the language. But like students will do things, they'll prepare to do something instead of doing the thing.
Right, sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's kind of more what I mean. So like to me, engaging with the language in the language is like you're already right there. You've not prepared for anything. You are now in it. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense. See if this makes sense to you. This is just because we're talking about it. Nobody would. This is a conversation I would never have with anybody. But I can't speak Spanish or read Spanish or anything. And I'm not educated beyond high school, barely. And occasionally I'll just try to read classics. I'll just go, well, let me see what people are talking about. And I started to read Don Quixote years ago, and I had I think Penguin. I had whatever the translation was.
Sure.
Not even really understanding that it's translated. Like I don't know, reading it, hilarious. I'm like, there's so much humor. This is the origin of so much humor, and I loved it. And I read it, a couple of times, and I got Cliff Notes just to make sure. I'm like, this is great. I think I had like a Penguin classic, whatever, and lost it, and then said, okay, I'm ready to read again. I'll buy, and I bought a different translation, and I didn't even realize that this was even. I just didn't think about it, and I'm like, this isn't the same, and it wasn't as funny. It was really interesting, and I was like, and then I figured out what copy that I used to have. I bought it again, and I'm like, this is the one. God only knows, just whoever.
Sure.
And then I started thinking like you. I was like, I guess this is why people want to read it in the original, but you would have to understand the full context. So I don't know what you're saying, but I can imagine, because I still think that whatever that original translation was hilarious, and the other ones were funny, but not as funny somehow. Whoever translated it.
Sure. It makes you wonder, like, is there like an academic circle that was like, that funny one is garbage?
That's what I'm saying. Then you don't know. Yeah,
you just don't know. You just don't know.
Possibly.
And of course, like reading like something like, I don't know, like Cicero, totally unadulterated.
Right.
Get a migraine.
Yeah.
If you don't know every single Roman general and philosopher that he's referencing, that he kind of assumes you'll know because it was written for upper crust Romans.
Right.
Of which we aren't.
Right. You would have to understand the whole thing. Yeah. I would never get anywhere near that, but that was the first. I guess my point is that was the first time that I, in my ignorance, was even aware that there was a translation. I just thought it's a book. It's in English. I'm just reading it.
Sure.
And then later you're like, oh, wait a minute, translated. That means, and then you realize that, I guess, like you say, languages, it doesn't directly correlate. Like this word means this in English means this in Spanish. It's like, there's room for that interpretation.
Certain words don't mean the same thing in Spanish as they do in the country 25 miles away. You know
right.
what I mean?
How about that?
That doesn't really happen to us as much, luckily. The word difference between pop and soda isn't really like a...
Right.
No one gets into a fist fight over it,
Right.
I would hope.
No. Yeah, it's not like, what? What is that you're talking about? Yeah.
Exactly. What'd you say about my mom?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, crazy. All right. So,
I was injured because that's kind of where we were.
So anyway,
but
hands. Just from
everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I tried to start a YouTube channel, and my hands got hurt from the editing. Tried to do dishes. It was anything would do it. And it turns out that it was not really the pain. It was not really like anything structurally wrong. It was like the way I managed my stress around it that was causing the injury to persevere in that way. And once I kind of got the stress part of it under control, I was completely out of injury.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hey, how long? It probably took you a while to figure that out.
I tried everything, but then when I found out about it, it was one day for another.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, that's cool.
Physical therapy. I tried the little weights. I did stretches. So guys, don't stretch. Don't go to physical therapy. Right. I'm telling you this right now. My opinion as a medical okay. Yeah. I'm telling you this right now. I think that we're probably usually more like afraid or stressed than actually hurt.
Wow.
And that certainly was the case with me. Like once I figured out that it was probably, like for instance, there's the program that I opted for kind of had me just like examining these beliefs and like really testing them for integrity. So here's one way to do it. Okay. If you have a structural injury, it will hurt all the time. If your leg is broken in half, there is not a point where you will not be in agony.
Okay.
It doesn't like when you're using the computer, it doesn't hurt. No, it hurts all the time.
Sure.
Right? So how come if there's something structurally wrong with my arms, how come it only triggers at certain points when I'm stressed out?
Huh.
So once I kind of learned to interface with like that stress and that anxiety and the cycle of like pain that would come with it, totally went away. Literally one day for the other.
So it's not even a mechanical injury?
Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. It was like maybe it once was, and then the synapses in my mind fired so many times, and there's a cycle of like, oh, that's scary. More stress.
Make this pain.
Exactly.
Wow.
And if I were a runner, it would have been on my legs, right? If I were a professional typist, it would have been on my fingers, right?
Anything that's going to stop your...
Exactly.
Wow.
Really fascinating. There's a book called The Way Out by Alan Gordon. The Way Out.
Okay.
And this is
all.
How
it happened?
That's I found it on Reddit.
Oh wow.
Very luckily, I was on like a repetitive stress injury thing.
Wow.
And this guy was like, I finally found something that worked, and that was it. It was basically that kind of thing. They call it mind-body syndrome, or I forget the other one. TMS, tensomyositis syndrome. Maybe I could be saying that wrong. And this has been around in some form or another since like maybe the late 70s.
I can't remember. I've had friends that have back injuries, and there was a book. There was a guy,
John Sarno, I think probably.
That's it. Yeah.
And he's a little bit. I didn't like his books as much. He's a little bit more like he definitely has a bone to pick with the medical industry. The book that I mentioned before, Alan Gordon, The Way Out. That book is like there's like studies and stuff that. Yeah. People go into the program with him with like debilitating pain, and they leave with like an 80-90% reduction.
Yeah, right. I just mean that idea that it's. I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say psychosomatic. I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's a fine word.
Right? But that sort of thing rather than it is maybe not actually a mechanical injury.
All pain is real, right?
Yeah.
Because people will say like, are you saying my pain isn't real? It's like, well, no. All pain comes from the brain.
Sure.
The brain isn't, the pain doesn't come from the knee.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So like if it's something with like how your brain is processing your stress and making it manifest in familiar places. So if you're a musician...
Sure.
It's spots where you're going to have pain and tension are in your wrists and your arms.
Sure.
Because obviously it's very stressful to tell yourself, I will never be able to do this again. That's like the worst thing you can tell yourself.
Right. And then you're just...
And then it gets even worse.
But you learn Spanish. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do you want to unlearn it? Because
No.
it was a waste? You're like, what happens if you... What if you read this book first?
I don't think I would have been ready,
Your life
first of
would
all.
have been crazy. Different.
I agree, but I wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have accepted that, I don't think.
Hey, that's cool. And you learned Spanish.
I learned Spanish.
Along the way.
And I discovered that, that's to me is equal in passion for me as music, I would say.
Wow.
Definitely.
Hey, that's cool.
I agree.
Wow.
And it's
a whole new thing.
It's deepened my relationship with music, and I've learned a lot about learning.
Yeah.
Right? Because you really obviously we absorb our first one like that.
Yeah.
But the second one, just really getting it to a high level as an adult, it's like you learn so much about
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
You learn so much about that.
I very, very minor. I'm not that talented, but when lockdown, we're just like, okay, we're not going to go anywhere for a while. I decided that I was going to take up the mountain dulcimer because I'm not much of a guitar player. It's
like play that
3-string instrument. Yeah. And then I didn't, but I was like, oh man, if we're going to be locked up for 2 years, I'm going to shred on this thing. And I kind of got somewhere, but I know the feeling where I was just so stressed out. I said, I got to have a goal. I got to learn something. I got to give myself something different that starts new, that isn't triggering of like, oh, I'm going to play drums and it can remind me of all the gigs I don't have in the other world. So let me start something new, get into a bunch of new stuff and kind of,
What kind of tunes you play on that thing?
Easy ones. The repertoire that you learn, it's Appalachian, so it's old, Amazing Grace, like old spirituals, and then you can kind of play old timey. You can kind of get in the mandolin lane, kind of play chords. But I like I don't know what you want to call it. But
how's the ergonomics of it? Do you get
It's weird. It's on your lap, and you play it like this.
Sure.
And strum in and out, but I'm left-handed, so I'm playing it upside down, which is kind of bizarre. It's like 3-stringed instrument, and the melody string is a double, like a 12-string, a unison string.
Sure.
And you're supposed to play the melody there while you make kind of shapes to do the chord changes. But I'm playing backwards, so my technique is bizarre because I'm trying to play the melody string at an angle. So
I would have said, before I would have
but
said,
I'm not good. So
I would have said, don't get injured. But now I know that it's actually so much harder to give yourself a permanent injury than musicians think. I believe that.
Hey, man.
I believe that because there's I was saying this idea of breaking down your own ideas about how an injury manifests.
Yeah.
Because what about guys that practice for 15 hours a day?
Yeah.
Are you so far outside of the normal that 5 minutes of playing keyboards could hurt you? Or is it realistic that 30 seconds of typing could give me symptoms? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
The answer is no. There's no structural injury that can be caused by that in such a short amount of time.
Wow.
And it's like once you kind of teach yourself that and not get stressed out, it goes away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Far out.
I agree.
All right. Well, hey, I don't want to run out of time. We're getting close. I don't feel like we talked enough about this is all much more interesting and then you did this and then you did that. So I'm glad. Is there any? Do you want to just fill in, or do you just want to leave it as is?
Feels good. I mean, like
Yeah,
I was kind of hoping to come on here today and talk about injury prevention.
Good.
Because now every time that I see somebody with a wristband on, I used to sleep with the wristbands.
Yeah, you just grab their arm
rip it
and
off.
rip that thing right off.
Well, I tell them, hey, you got something to write on, and write this down.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if it can help, I mean, this is to me, it's kind of the vanguard of pain management, and also like anything in life that helps you manage stress better. Like, how could that be bad?
Sure.
You know, it helps everything. Because, you know, something else I learned is like never do negative self-talk ever.
Really?
Yes, because it's just like there's no reason. It comes from conditioning. It comes from all this stuff there's never been a benefit to it. And it's like I would be like, oh, I'll never play again. I'll never do this or that. I'll always be worse than so and so, a virtuoso musician.
Yeah.
I practice better now. I'll tell you what. I don't waste time.
Wow.
You know.
Hey. Wow.
It all made a big difference.
So
it was a big mountain to go over.
That's crazy.
It's like 10 years of injury.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm playing better than ever.
Wow.
With like half.
I don't want to be like, you know, foo-foo or whatever, but you're like, good thing.
Good, yeah.
That you got injured in a way.
I know, you're right.
Think of like how different the path was because of that. If you never got injured.
It just makes you search for different things, and I searched for certain things about the guitar that I learned, and now that like made a bigger difference for me in a month than 10 years of practicing had.
Crazy.
Little technical things that like if I hadn't felt limited, I wouldn't have pushed up against that wall and looked for another way.
Say that again.
Which one?
Just that what you just said. I'm trying to understand.
Like if I hadn't been injured, I wouldn't like have pushed up against like this technical problem I was having, looked for a solution in the way that I looked for it, found the solution.
Right.
You know, and then came out of it. It sort of feels like odd to say, but like the red pill. Where like with especially with an injury, you hear musicians talking about this. They're doing stretches and all this crazy stuff, and it's like we are neurotic.
Yeah.
As musicians, we are exacting, and we compare ourselves to others, and it's a stressful lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like look at that.
Yeah.
And and then it's like you will play better and be happier.
Wow. All right. Well, you know what? Tell us what we should read, what we should understand to get started on what you're talking about.
Sure. I think that getting a copy of Alan Gordon's book, I mean, it seems like I'm getting paid by him. I'm not.
Well, no. I'll check it out.
That's a beautiful book. It's written with humor and empathy, and it doesn't have this like anti-medical establishment screed thing in it that the John Sarno books have.
Sure.
There's another book. There's a great podcast. There's like Drummer World.
Okay.
I forget where the guy was interviewing a doctor named Howard Schubiner.
Okay.
Who's been big in this world for a long time. He studied with John Sarno. And then there's a website called the TMS Wiki.
Okay.
So some of what this involves is kind of doing some personal work, like in terms of like journaling, thinking about things that are stressful, and it can be a little bit unpleasant.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like sort of like learning to integrate that and not get stressed out. And so I probably the two things would be the TMS Wiki.
Okay.
That's pretty easy to find. And then the John Sarno book, not the John, well, nope, other guy, Alan Gordon, The Way Out.
Okay.
That's a fantastic
Alan
book.
Gordon, The Way Out.
And that's deep. And then also some Spinetta, Charlie Garcia, you know, different Latin American rock artists.
Yeah. No, we'll get on it. I'll get on it. Okay. Real quick wrap-up questions. Well,
right.
What are you doing now? Quickly. You moved to New York. You're no longer here.
I joined a wedding band.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, it's good. I mean,
man.
you know this guy, his name's Gintis, New York guy. He's like your age.
So he's old, is what you're saying.
I know you're not old.
No.
I'm doing that. I'm in Connecticut teaching at a jam camp. I work with kids all day long.
Yeah.
Over the Downright area. A lot of fun. Really enjoyable age group.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but I really like it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what's up. I'm studying. Cool. And I'm just keeping studying. Studying is something I really enjoy, and it's
cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Gotta keep learning.
Indeed. Desert Island albums, a few.
Okay.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna say there's an album by a group called Almendra.
Okay.
It's actually another project of Louis Spinetta.
Okay.
That's a beautiful record, and it's got some really just inventive rock. Kind of just shows you they really cared a lot. There's a song at the end called Laura Va, which means Laura Goes, and it's kind of like It's just like a beautiful string arrangement. There's like a bandolion in it. Gorgeous. I don't know who did it, but the arrangement, but it's amazing.
All right.
I would say that. Oh, you put me on the spot.
Well,
let's see. There's an album by Knower called Life.
Okay.
That I've just worn out. And there's an album by a guy named Dan Gellert called Waiting on the Break of Day.
Love it. Never heard of any of them.
That's
Perfect.
okay. He's like a funky banjo fiddle player. I love him. Anyway, that's probably
love it. No, I'm down. That sounds great. I like when I don't know anything. No, because it's just okay.
It's a good place to be. I think.
Oh, definitely.
It's underrated.
I'm ready. I'm totally into it. Desert Island food.
Pizza.
Yeah. Okay. That's easy enough. Can you tell me one show that you saw that you attended that changed your trajectory?
Ooh, sure. When I was in high school, I was really into Indian music, and I went to this concert at CCSU. It was like 13 hours long.
Oh, wow.
These great players.
Wow.
Really like heavy like sitar, sarod, Indian vocal stuff. It's pretty crazy. I was there all day and all night.
Wow.
I was probably like 14. But I met a lady that was going to be teaching. That was a sitar teacher.
Yeah.
She kind of like happened upon us, and I ended up like staying in her house and like learning the sitar.
Hey.
Listening to her, and her son was a tabla player.
Wow.
He was bad.
Yeah.
He was bad.
Yeah. Bad meaning good.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She would play the sitar, and like her two dogs would just be like in ecstasy.
Really?
She was crazy. She wasn't crazy, but she would like when we got there, me and my mom, this lady was just like praying like 5 hours, and we had to like get her. We had to be like, hey, like we're hungry.
Right.
And she's just been praying like at this shrine for like 5 hours in her house. Really deep lady, and she would say like, oh, I can control the weather with my music and stuff, you know.
Wow.
And had some pretty wild experiences just like seeing her do her thing. And so I would say that's probably a show that had a large effect.
That's cool. Yeah, that'll do it, right? I guess those are my questions.
Pretty much.
Yeah, right?
Right.
All right. So, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I like I say, you're my problem is I don't write down my list. I did write down a list. I do have a list somewhere, and you were on it at some point, and then I kind of forget because I get overwhelmed or busy and I forget. And then you surfaced, and I was like, boom, that's right. And that's usually how it happens.
You scoop me up.
I like it that way. I like it that way.
That's the way to do it.
And I like this because it seems like this has been lately. I don't mind having people that I know the answers, but I don't know the answers. So I don't have to act interested. I'm actually interested because I don't know. I don't know the answers.
There you go.
So that's kind of cool. So I appreciate that.
Of course.
That kind of works out.
Well, thanks for having me here and letting me talk about myself so much.
Hey, well, what are you going to, I mean, you're the guest. Of course.
That's true.
That's why we're here.
Sure.
And your people will be glad to hear it, to hear you talk.
I didn't say anything that crazy, so
Hey,
I don't think.
Well, it's not, you have almost a minute.
Oh, here we go. Hey. Some real fringe opinions incoming.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, you know what? We'll get out of here.
All right.
Atticus Kelly, thank you.
Thank you, John.
I appreciate it. It was kind of fun hanging out. I don't think we ever hung out this long
No, I don't think
in
so
one
either.
shot, which is good. That's what we like to do. John Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go through one set of lights, start looking left, pull a U, park in front of the store, red neon sign. My rep's getting longer. Dave will tell you how to have your own podcast here in our beautiful studio. Like, subscribe. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, John.
That is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.